Your Excellencies, the President of the Council of Ministers, Mr. Saad Hariri, Ambassador Mr. Pierre Ducan, Central Bank Governor Mr. Riyad Salemi, Chairman of the Economic Bodies Mr. Mohammed Shair, Your Excellencies, the ambassadors in the audience, ministers and members of parliament, especially I see many faces here of those who helped us pass the PPP legislation, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you most kindly for your interest in the important subject matter of this conference and for your presence here. I'm addressing you today in my capacity as Secretary General of the High Council for Privatization and PPP, which is in fact a permanent ministerial committee chaired by His Excellency the President of the Council of Ministers and having as members Their Excellency the Ministers of Finance, Economy and Trade, Labor, Justice, and in each case the minister whose ministry is in charge of the sector to which a particular project pertains. This interministerial approach to the structure of PPP units has proven to be very effective in other parts of the world. Under the leadership of the Presidency of the Council of Ministers and with the active cooperation of the Ministry of Finance and sectorial ministries, I am sure that much will be achieved and many hurdles along the way will be surmounted. For decades now, we have seen PPP projects fail in Lebanon, either during their tendering process or after their award, due to the lack of public sector experience in handling these extremely complex tenders. But the passage of the PPP law and its ratification last September was, I believe, a game changer. It has marked a watershed in the economic trajectory of Lebanon. It established for the first time a legislative framework for the adoption of PPP projects, a framework which conforms to internationally recognized standards and best practices. In the first instance, the PPP law eliminates the ad hoc approach to dealing with PPP projects and sets out clear procedures for their design and tendering. In the second instance, it ensures transparency. It does that in each case by involving all public sector stakeholders in the tendering process, by consulting with the pre-qualified bidders on the draft PPP contract and tender document, by including the draft PPP document in the publicly available tender document, and by requiring periodic post-award reports on the extent to which a project is meeting its key performance indicator targets. In the third instance, the law has recognized the need for a professional public sector approach to PPP, and so has vested that responsibility in the highly qualified staff of the Council who have experience in corporate and administrative law, in legal and financial due diligence, in investment banking, and in structured and project finance. Lastly, in the fourth instance, it has facilitated the participation of the private sector in the full spirit of partnership. It did that by recognizing the need to share risks and mitigate them, by providing for local and international arbitration, by exempting project companies from regulations requiring Lebanese control, ownership, and management, and by allowing project companies to benefit from the provisions of the existing laws of investment promotion and asset securitization. Now, much has been said about the decrees associated with the PPP law. Let me clarify that this law does not require any implementation decrees. In order to facilitate our work at the Council, however, we do need decrees to be adopted which relate to our internal administration, human resources, and financial management. We are hoping that these decrees will be adopted by the Council of Ministers as speedily as possible. We have come a long way indeed. The passage of the PPP law and the national consensus exhibited through the public support of PPP by all the country's major political parties should give much added comfort to our prospective private sector partners, be they equity or debt investors. To those who have expressed concern about the potential burden of PPP projects on the Lebanese treasury, please allow me to say that expanding our economy, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs, and growing our GDP are the only ways available to us to get out from under the burden of our debt. PPP is the key to such growth today. So we look forward to having the undivided and unqualified support of the international community and multilateral organizations as we forge ahead with a major push to build Lebanon's infrastructure. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for attending our conference today, and thank you for listening to what I had to say.